Alright guys, welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon North American Open. We've gotten a few best of threes that have gone to 3 so far, and this is another good one.
It indeed is, Gillyweed. We had 2ARC take the first game with their classic, if I might say, no warrior composition. But then they used that no warrior composition again in the second game. Cabana came out swinging and did manage to take it. So we are 1-1. And my prediction was that 2ARC is going to draft something maybe a little more standard this time.
I think that's a good prediction to have. We have started that draft, so let's see if that's the case. We're going to hop over to that. So we've coined the terms YOLO Hana, as well as the soft taco so far in these 2 games. What will we find in Game 3? That remains to be seen, friends.
It certainly does. Tyrande has been a star today, by the way. I don't know that we've seen any game that didn't have her face somewhere.
Would you say that she's been a shooting star?
I would. A shooting star. Shooting across the sky. Or our Heroes game. Whoa, we haven't seen these guys. Lost Vikings picked up from 2ARC, so never mind about that more standard in terms of what we've seen for the rest of the day. Lost Vikings definitely having made appearances in bands, but no one actually playing them so far. 2ARC is going to take the leap.
You know, the only times we've seen them, which is very rare, has been on Garden of Terror. It's such a big battleground that they're able to kind of just move into the lanes, sit there, passively gain experience, and then scooch ahead of their opponent's inexperience. But Cabana do have the tools to be able to try to take them out pretty quickly. It's just going to require a lot of rotations, and because the lanes are so far apart, that's what's really nice about them. We've even seen them use that play again for that strategy before as well. I think that was yesterday.
We did see that. You know, the other cool thing about Lost Vikings on this map is that you can put one of the Lost Vikings inside the Garden Terror, and then you can have 2 more Viking bodies to help you doing whatever else it is you're doing, whether that's pushing alongside the Terror or split pushing. So definitely a very useful hero or 3 heroes on this map.
You know who is another useful hero on this battleground is Sylvanas, and I'm very surprised that once again she's made it through the first round of bans and picks. So maybe Sylvanas is falling out a little bit in here, not as necessary for every single battleground as we've seen in the last meta, but definitely still very powerful on battlegrounds like the Tomb of the Spider Queen, that type of thing. We'll have to see if she gets picked up here, as she will not be banned.
Yeah, Muradin is the ban from Cabana, so Cabana believes that 2ARC still does want to pick up a warrior. They have Johanna already, so that's starting to limit the pool. 2ARC responds by banning out Malfurion, which means that 2 of the great healers have been banned out. Cabana, if they want someone to join Tyrande as a healer, which they most likely do, is probably going to be picking up Rhaegar at some point.
Yeah, that's a great point to make. And the Muradin ban makes sense if they do believe 2ARC is going to go for a warrior, as we do see Muradin and Uther generally picked up together. They present a very strong front line between the 2 of them, Uther himself being pretty tanky for a support, and they can really keep heroes off of your squishy heroes with all of the stuns that they both can put out. We do have Sylvanas being picked up here for Cabana. Who will be the next choice?
Well, before I say that, Gilly, I did want to point out, actually, looking at Lost Vikings, a lot of their function is to help you gain an early experience lead by having bodies soaking in lanes. So that makes me wonder, looking at 2ARC's composition, if maybe we were wrong and maybe they're just looking to make sure they solidify their early game lead and they're going to put 2 more damage dealers on the map.
They would, if they're going to do a no warrior, they have to have like a Tassadar. They've got to have something else. That's always been the case for them with their their no warrior compositions. Double warrior, that's not right. But Cabana are saying, yes, you forced us into the Rhaegar, but actually we're going to take Lily, yay!
Why? I don't know. But considering the Malfurion ban, I guess Cabana is looking for a large AoE heal, which they do get from Lily with her heroic ability Jug of 1,000 Cups. So we can put all of those heroes that they have underneath that healing brew, but they're still missing a burst damage dealer, so I would assume we're going to see that out of them. 2ARC does go ahead and grab a warrior. They're going to grab Tyrael. Gilly, how are you feeling about that?
I always forget that 2-Arc loves Tyrael, as do I, so I am very excited right now. I think Tyrael is a great pickup too because they can always use that the judgment on that Jug of 1,000 Cups. So the idea, of course, you mentioned, is that Banana Cabana would really like to have that large AoE heal, but Jug of 1,000 Cups is a little bit easier to stop than Tranquility. There's only a couple of things that actually stop that Tranquility, but Jug of 1,000 Cups, any full-on stun will stop that. The hard thing is catching her with it, because if she takes any damage, she moves faster. That's her trait, fast feet. So you really have to have a good stun, maybe a good one that's very quick, like Judgment.
2-Arc's gonna round out their composition with Nova, Gilly.
Okay.
And then Sonya.
We've got a Nova and a Sonya. And this is getting a little interesting, guys. Things are getting a little crazy here in this last game of the best of 3. We're going to have a stealthy hero who can move around, do a lot of burst damage, and also maybe even will have that really cool precision strike heroic ability, which is really good at zoning as well as dealing a ton of damage in area of effect for 2-Arc. But Sonya, one we don't see very often, Anna.
But we've seen her twice today now, Gilly.
I know, right? Why do people keep playing Sonya? 2-Arc probably like, why do people keep picking Sonya versus us? What did we do?
Is there something we don't know? I mean, Sonya does have the ability to pull someone out of a group, right? So maybe the idea, or pull herself to someone in a group, rather. So maybe the idea is to single someone out for Banana Cabana. But even then, like, they don't have much follow-up on that. I mean, their big damage really is coming from Sylvanas and maybe Tyrande. Johanna can deal her fair share of damage as a warrior, but only for a warrior.
I wonder if they'll do... I always wonder about Sonya, which heroic ability they'll pick up. Leap, of course, allows you to jump onto an area dealing damage, and I believe stunning as well. And then Wrath of the Berserker makes you in God mode. You just do so much damage, especially for a warrior. But I think maybe the idea is that you'll have Condemn from Johanna into like Blessed Shield. You'll also have a Lunar Flare from Tyrande, and then maybe we're going to have Sonya be able to leap on top of that. And then from there, Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas, more damage from everybody, and then they'll be able to take somebody out that way. It's pretty interesting, the damage dealers that they have, as there's no sort of standard damage dealers that we see here. It's really just Sylvanas.
Yeah, and 2-Arc, even though they're a little less damage heavy than they usually are, do have Kael'thas, who has been known to be able to kind of carry a team in terms of damage. And then Nova isn't one that we typically see, but she's going to be great on this map because what she can do is kind of sneak around, gain intelligence for the team, and then also snipe people if they're going for those small seed camps, which people do tend to feel like they can go grab those on their own when they don't see members of the opposing team there. And Nova can just wait around and kind of jump out from the shadows and do damage to them there.
Yeah, she can actually even run in if, for instance, a terror has been taken down and just like run through and pick up a bunch of the seeds, which is really infuriating for your team. But one thing she doesn't do well is like Merc or be able to go and pick up some of the seed camps for herself. So that's one thing she'll be trying to do, is maybe more of the reconnaissance, more of the stealing the seeds versus grabbing them for her own. But let's go ahead and introduce her and her team. We'll have 2-Arc in blue once again with Suki playing Nova, Furious D on Kael'thas, Panucci on the Tyrael. We've got all 3 Vikings being played by Traitor, and Chubsy will be on Uther.
And in red, again, we have Banana Cabana. It's going to be Misscliks playing Sylvanas, Wrath on Johanna, Prey playing Lily, Subnova playing Sonya, and Hope on Tyrande.
Poor Eric stood no chance as he tried to go into the bush just to get set up, as already there were 3 members of Banana Cabana lying in wait for him to be able to do that. It looks like we will have traders spreading out those Vikings, 1 in each lane, and they're going to be very passive, just looking to soak the experience, as while each Viking only counts for a quarter of a hero death, just like the Murky that we saw earlier today. They do gain experience equal to a full hero, so all they have to do is just try to stay in lane, especially once their opponents leave the lane and they will be getting experience where their opponents are not. Now, that does mean they might get taken out. They are pretty easy to take out here, and we've already seen a couple of them do that. So that will be up to Banana Cabana to try to push them out of lane as much as possible.
They're little babies. They can be taken out pretty easily, but they also, like you said, do soak like a grown-up. The thing is that it takes a lot of know-how to play these. Trader has to focus on 3 heroes as opposed to just 1. And while all the other players in the game are focused on just 1 hero, it can mean that Vikings are sometimes easy to catch unaware.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You often see teams kind of, if you can hear in their communications, they'll be yelling toward each other like, hey, check top, check Olaf, something like that. Or you'll see them pinging the actual one like we just saw right there. So if Trader's not quite paying attention, trying to focus on another Viking, you might have teammates trying to help ping so that you can move it back when you need to.
You see the middle lane being a point of contention, but both teams, again, like you said, being fairly conservative. When you get to this point in the tournament, there is a lot on the line, and so you start to see teams take less risks, especially early on when they don't have to. We're seeing the safe seeds being taken on both sides. We're seeing a trade evenly. Both teams took just their safe sides. We have 30 and 30. There are 60 seeds in each of these garden shamblers. I think that's what they used to be called. I don't know if that is theirs now, but the big camps, and those are both still standing.
They are indeed. However, Tyrande is not. She has been taken down. Eric might go down too, finding himself a little too far forward there, and a lot of pings are going to go down to try to move him for Trader. Looking at the talents, we do have both teams very even with talents once again, picking up their level 4 ones just a little bit ago. We do have 2 gathering powers on the side of 2ARC, so they're really going to be looking to try to keep those heroes alive who do have the gathering power in order to make sure that they can really sustain all of that extra ability power that comes from taking down heroes.
It's interesting to note that we have had the Vikings 1 in each lane this entire game. Panucci managing to get a narrow escape there, but we have had 1 Viking in each lane. A lot of times we'll see people opt to have 2 and 1 because it's a little easier to control if they feel like they're getting enough soak. And right now we are seeing that we will have Eric running down to the bottom to take care of what is not being taken care of by Baylog while he was resurrecting.
Yeah, they can kind of move down because there are some of those heroes from 2ARC already in the mid soaking that lane, so it wasn't too big of a deal. However, a rotation up toward the top means that Olaf will go down now. So Banana Cabana once again going to have a little bit of time where they're soaking in lanes that their opponents are not. So this is exactly what you have to do versus those Vikings, is just make sure that if a Viking is there, you're either taking them out or you are soaking in that same lane.
Yeah, even Baylog not quite being able to take out this wave of minions by himself. In the mid lane, they are going to be pushing, taking down the wall, and adding more damage to this tower. Panucci is going to come up and join. It looks like there is going to be a shambler taken down there. So that means, again, the teams evenly traded, 90 and 90. So in the next seed phase, it's going to be a race to take that small camp and get their Garden Terror spawning.
Yeah, crazy how even both of these teams have made this game so far, even in experience, even in talents, and even in seeds already as well. We do have level 7 talents picked up. We have a cleanse for Uther, so that will be nice versus the possible stuns that will be coming out from Tyrande, also from Johanna with that blessed shield, and then of course from the spear for Sonya as well. And speaking of Sonya, she's got a bit of an interesting build. She picked up block, so she is trying to get a little bit tankier, but then getting focused attack and then poison spear. So focusing on sustainability at least initially, but now going for more damage dealing as they already have another warrior in terms of that Johanna. Panucci though might get taken out here, is going to be able to be Eldruin might away, and now will be safe from the onslaught of Banana Cabana.
Yeah, 2ARC kind of showing respect for how often they were taken down in the last game. They're being a little less aggressive. We saw them use heroes in fights maybe longer than they needed to be in the last game, and so this one they're being a little bit more protective. And that's showing in the fact that the takedown rates are pretty even for these teams at this point.
Oh, great Lunar Flare grabs Chubbs, but he's going to be able to get away. He barely gets away from that condemn. And now Sylvanas goes down. A good rotation from 2ARC means that they're able to secure a takedown in that where their opponents were not. So that's going to help them catch back up and experience a little bit. They're a slight bit behind, but not really going to be too much of an issue as long as they don't get into an engagement while their opponents are 10, which it doesn't look like is going to happen.
We had Baylog almost go down there, but he did manage to get away, so keeping that one more burst of experience to go down. But we do have level 10 heroic abilities coming in for Banana Cabana. They are going to be Wailing Arrow, Blessed Shield, Jug of 1,000 Cups, Wrath of the Berserker, and Starfall.
Alright, so we're really focusing on damage here from the Sonya. Let's see what she's got so far. As she's doing all right. She's keeping up with the Tyrande and only slightly behind the Sonya. So once we see that Wrath of the Berserker coming down, it's going to increase the damage and then also makes it so she's a little bit less likely to be stunned, or at least the stuns don't last as long. So she will also get a lot of Fury, which will make her be able to drop her abilities more often. Now, Panucci and Suki were trying to steal this Siege Giant camp, but weren't able to do so, and even though the Precision Strike did a bunch of damage in the area where Banana Cabana had to be standing, Jug of 1,000 Cups healed them right back up.
Sure did, Gilly, and Suki is now in search of other places where she can sneak in and help. That Nova Precision Strike was a big deal, but there's not follow-up. That's the thing. Now Suki actually getting pulled out of Cloak is going to be playing up against Hope. Trader's there to help, but Wrath joins the fight, and that convinces Suki that it's not the right place to be anymore. She's going to look for more stealthy places to hide. The seeds are now spawning, so that means whoever grabs their small camp, their safe camp fastest, will have a Garden Terror. We'll see if they will both spawn right away, or if they will focus on trying to deny seeds to their opponents.
The Stun and the Judgment are both going to go down. A Healing Ward will try to heal, but immediately people get pushed off of that as the Phoenix will be there to zone. So Banana Cabana, a member, actually got stunned by the Shambler, but there wasn't really any sort of follow-up on that from Tuark. We're going to see them rotating down, trying to pick up more seeds. Although Garden Terror is all ready for both teams, they don't really want to allow their opponents to get enough for another one, as that's really detrimental. So Tuark is going to start working on the Terror on bottom. Up top, we'll see the same from Banana Cabana.
Right now it looks like both Terrors are headed for the mid lane, so we may see a Clash of Titans style thing going on there. Or they might head on down to that bottom Shambler. It looks like Banana Cabana is interested on denying some of those seeds to their opponents.
Yeah, and that's amazing because they're going to be able to pick up all of the seeds from the top one. So they have got a ton. The flower has closed on the bottom of the map for Tuark, which means they are not going to be able to get another one after the one that Trader is in. By the way, that is one Viking in that Garden Terror. But if Banana Cabana ends up picking up this Garden Terror here, they still can get a second Terror. That would be huge for them. They have two pushing in a row.
Man. Yeah, what does Tuark need to do to make sure that they stop this onslaught from all members of Banana Cabana here?
It does seem like they're playing a little more passively, but they definitely need to start pushing down some structures. They're going to have to catch back up in experience. They're really not too behind. Both of them have all of their forts up. So part of the issue is that having the Vikings always in lane, while it does make sure that they are caught up in experience, they're really playing a 4v5, so they have to be more passive in these engagements, as they really can't take them unless they know that they've kind of split up their opponents. Now they're trying to go down and maybe look at these seeds, but if every member of Banana Cabana is here, they might be able to make something happen. Instead, we're going to see Chubsy coming in, Furious D also trying to maybe take out Prey. A Judgment will come in into the Phoenix and will be able to take out Lily. Now they might be able to make something happen. The Garden Terror is done. It has moved back. Tuark is rotating around. They're immediately going to go after these seeds on bottom.
Very even. 6 forts, 3 takedowns, and almost level 14 for both teams right now. So even though they're playing passive, Tuark really, I'm sure, knows what they're doing. They want to make sure they scale into that late game with especially Kael'thas.
Yeah, and speaking of Kael'thas, we never did go over the heroics that Tuark did pick up. They did get the Phoenix in Precision Strike, as well as the Divine Shield, Judgment, and Longboat Raid. So we're not seeing the Plague-In, the crazy Plague-In fight, or play that we saw before Plague-In play, but we will have some boats with some singing Vikings coming out in team fights.
This bottom lane will not survive long with Tuark wailing damage down upon it. Siege Giants will come and try to defend, but they're not going to last long either. Subnova is there to help them, though, and looks like 2ARC will slowly disengage from this, look for other places on the map they can make a difference. They do have all of their mercenary camps available to them.
Yeah, and in fact, we do see Judgment going down into the Precision Strike is going to melt Tyrande, so I really am liking that combination so far, as it's really hard to get away from that Judgment, especially when you possibly got Chubsy right behind who can drop more stuns as well. Even Furious D who can throw out those gravity lapses. And now we are seeing the rest of Banana Cabana coming in, trying to maybe get into a fight. They still have an even engagement really, because it is 4v4 as we mentioned the Vikings before. So 2ARC going to get all the way back. They almost have level 16 though, and that's pretty nice. They might turn this around as they do have those talents.
Yeah, we saw that Banana Cabana was definitely prioritizing taking out Kael'thas. That allowed Suki and Panucci and Chubsy to kind of run different directions. And then when Kael'thas zoned with that Phoenix, it kind of stopped the onslaught. So I did not expect 2ARC to walk away as unscarred by that engagement as they did. But like you said, that means they are starting to pull ahead even with that passive and defensive play.
Yeah, there is structurally it's pretty even. We've got 1 fort down on each side, so pretty low structure damage so far, as we are almost to level 16. That's pretty cool to see. But they will start taking a lot more damage. As like we've mentioned before, we do have a Sylvanas. We do have a lot more team fights where people will be down longer because of respawn timers. And there goes the Judgment once again onto Lily, who is melted again. That seems to be the target of those Judgments, trying to take out the healer so that there is no way for Banana Cabana to heal back up, except for the Tyrande heals, which are not super high. There's not a ton of those available. And that's a really good idea for them, as long as they don't have all the Vikings, they will be fighting in something like a 4v5 like that.
Yeah, I think that the name of the game, like you said, is that taking down one member of Banana Cabana so that 2ARC can feel comfortable taking the objectives they want. That's really going to pay off later when they're able to collect more seeds as we approach the next seed phase.
Yeah, 2ARC has been doing a really good job of making sure to take the correct engagements, knowing where their opponents are at, being able to see, okay, we've got our lanes pushed. We see a couple in one lane trying to stop that push because of the Vikings. So now we can feel comfortable in engaging on this, knowing that they are not all here. So now that is going to continue. We see Olaf taking some damage, getting hit by a lunar flare, but we are moving into the night phase, and soon we will have these teams trying to pick up more seeds, trying to get another Garden Terror.
Do you see the Vikings grouping up now? That's going to allow them to use Longboat Raid. There's a Precision Strike. It's going to go down. Wrath gets so low and eventually falls. We do have a Starfall as well as Phoenix down. We do have a stun also on the Lost Vikings. The 2ARC is in hot pursuit of Subnova, who is able to tank and run herself out of that engagement. But now we do have a Garden Terror growing for 2ARC, and they have pretty much control over the space here in the middle of the lane. So it looked like Panucci and Chubsy are going to go grab the seeds on the side of the map of Banana Cabana. Surprised to see that Panucci was not going to grab those seeds, but instead Suki's going to maybe look to steal. Nope, just kidding. Just scouting.
Just scouting, that's what you can really do with those. Sylvanas, though, is going to go down, so great job there of being able to take that advantage from Suki, or by Suki. We're seeing 2ARC get some more seeds. It's possible we could see 2 Garden Terrors in a row, and that would be pretty tough for Banana Cabana, as we're seeing this bottom one go down right now. The Terror has already spawned. Trader, once again, will be controlling that. The other 2 Vikings are just kind of hanging out up top.
Like I was mentioning, this is where 2ARC wants to be. They want to be able to just burn somebody down, create an advantage to make Banana Cabana timid, and then be able to collect all of the objectives on the battleground that they want. So they are going to have that second Garden Terror now available to them. Looks like Panucci's sniffing around looking to steal some of the seeds coming out of this Garden Terror as well.
He did do so, but won't be able to stop the opponents from getting the Garden Terror. However, the Judgment's going to go down. There's no Precision Strike follow-up, though. Nova was taken out just a little bit ago, but they are able to pick up the Tyrande takedown. Jug of 1,000 Cups is going to go down, going to try to heal Subnova right back up. Wrath as well, who's being stunned and takes a lot of damage from Furious D's Flame Strike. It got the Ignite as well. We have level 20 for 2ARC. They've picked up their Storm Talons, but only 17 for Banana Cabana.
Panucci had a little bit of a blinders on there, really, really wanting to take down Misscliks and going down behind the wall of Banana Cabana. He's going to turn around and go to that top wall, and there's going to be a lot of damage going down from 2ARK on that wall, while in the meantime, the Garden Terror is pressing in mid.
Going to drop one of those plant pots, try to distract from the fact that he would really like to take out that fort, but is not going to be able to do so. It was slowing down his attack significantly. But on top, this fort is going to go down. 2ARK is throwing everything they've got at it, minus Nova, who has just spawned and will be back into the fray momentarily. We have the Garden Terror spawning now by Subnova. I really like this choice, actually, for Banana Cabana to not spawn their Garden Terror right away. They only have one, so they're going to kind of bring it out as soon as the first one's taken down. Maybe they can even use it to kind of defend versus the second one. The 2ARK will have a little bit, but it seems like 2ARK would rather just go and try to take it out. There goes the Judgment. I heard it into the Precision Strike. Hope does go down. Does drop the Starfall first, but it's not going to be enough.
Starfall is going to zone between two sides of 2ARK. Phoenix is also going to go down. That's going to mean the Subnova has to walk through it in order to rejoin his team. We do see that this Garden Terror is going to be used defensively, as it's not going to push on its own.
Prey and Wrath both got so low from that longboat raid, but weren't taken out. Jug of 1,000 Cups are going to heal them back up. But now we are seeing 2ARK completely focused on taking out this Garden Terror. They don't want to be pushing Terror versus Terror. They want to take this out, and then they want to have a very long time where they can just continually use the Garden Terror to maybe either push with their heroes or to push to push while they're pushing elsewhere. And in the middle of that, they did lose Kael'thas, but somehow a Viking decided to use the bribes to go ahead and pick up the Giants on top of all that was going down there.
So now the Giants will be pushing in the bottom lane as well. So Banana Cabana is going to have to pay attention to a lot of places, as we do have the second Garden Terror now charging down the mid lane. Looks like we have two Vikings heading toward the top lane. They're going to do a little bit of pushing there too. And 2ARK is trying to make sure that there is pressure on all fronts that Banana Cabana has to be aware of, and that they can't use their team composition all together to just team fight in a even engagement.
Yeah, the Bananas at this point, they really need level 20. So we see them sitting down. They've got Lily down in the bottom, both pushing back those Giants and also just trying to get them caught back up in talents. They really want to pick up those Storm talents, but they also really have to defend versus the onslaught on all fronts. Trader is up top with two of the Vikings, pushing all the way into that the towers there. We've got the Garden Terror, which is still pushing, even though it's the night phase now. That's not something you ever want to have to deal with. And on bottom, we had the Judgment into Precision Strike that took out Lily and also helped ensure that they took out the keep there as well. So a great push on all fronts from 2ARK at this point.
Panucci in real danger, but does manage to get out of the way, as the stuns coming down on him did actually miss. So Banana Cabana's got to be kicking themselves for that. That was the one moment where they had kind of had an advantage so far in this phase. Now they're after Trader in the Garden Terror, but remember, even if they do manage to pull Trader out of the Garden Terror, that's just one Viking, so it's not really the advantage they need. They're going to actually look to take care of the pressure that's happening elsewhere. In the meantime, that gives 2ARK all the time in the world to go back and collect yet more seeds. They take all of the safe camps, all the small camps, and now they're going to go after this Garden Shambler here in the top.
Their opponents have picked up a level 20, so we do see the Kung Fu hustle emerge for the little panda, as well as anger management for Sonya. Once again, the rewind for Tyrande, Storm Shield for Johanna, and then Deafening Blast for Sylvanas, which we don't often see. So we are going to have a little more damage, but a lot more sustainability as well from these talents. 2ARK are about to take down that Shambler, and we'll be able to get all the seeds from that, but they might have to deal with the battle there. There goes the Judgment into the Precision Strike. It does melt Tyrande, and Sonya goes down as well. Where is the Lily? Where is she at? She's so hard to catch now, so I like that they've decided to change who they're attacking, because once she gets Kung Fu Hustle, it's like impossible to really catch her, as she is so fast, and of course her abilities recharge, but they don't care. They're able to pick her up anyway, so she will go down. We once again have a Garden Terror ready for 2ARK, but they're gonna be pushing here as well.
Wrath is the only hero left for another at least 30 seconds for Banana Cabana, so 2ARK has time to do whatever they see fit. Wrath is super survivable, but one hero versus 5, and in this case even 7, is not really going to work out, so Wrath is going to go back, spin around on his horse and heal up, but Phoenix does go down against the core. We do see everyone spending their damage on that core. Wrath desperately trying to distract them, but Wrath or not, there's plenty of damage to go around, even including catapults that are pushing for 2-Arc. The Precision Strike finishes the job, and that will be the series for 2-Arc 2-1.
The poor Garden Terror hadn't even made it to the core. They pushed in, they got the minions right up to the base, they were able to take out Wrath, and from there, they were able to secure the series. A great job by 2-Arc, and showing us that the Lost Vikings still definitely have a place here.
Yeah, I think that this is a really good example of kind of the mid-late game trust comp, and by trust I mean being okay with the fact that, hey, it's going to look like we're not doing so well, but as soon as we get the wombos that we're looking for, we can just nuke people. And then once we can nuke people, we can take objectives and advantages knowing that Banana Cabana can't come and contest, because if they do, they'll be outnumbered, especially because we have 2 extra bodies as well, even when we have the Garden Terror up.
Yeah, I really liked the judgment into the Precision Strike that they were doing with, of course, the Flame Strike down underneath all of that as well. They were doing a ton of damage very quickly, just being able to take one person out of the fight, which was really nice for them because, like I mentioned before, they were sometimes fighting 4-on-5 because the Vikings weren't all there to be able to hit that longboat raid. So they were able to kind of notice when not all the members of Banana Cabana were there, take one out very quickly. It was Lily for a bit, and then as she got that Kung Fu hustle, it became more difficult to, when she gets attacked with that, she is able to use her abilities more often. The cooldown timers are reduced, so that does mean that she's able to heal more, so it's not really something that you want her to do if you're not going to be able to take her out completely. So I liked that they kind of switched targets there and started going after the Tyrande instead.
I'm looking at Banana Cabana's composition and wondering if there were other heroes that may have accomplished what they were looking for a little bit better, if perhaps maybe they had switched out the Sonya for an Anubarak. They would still have that tankiness, but maybe a little more engage and disengage, which would have helped them. I don't know, they maybe were lacking a bit of damage as well. Sylvanas wasn't as much of a factor in that game as they would have liked her to be, because she's really great when pushing with the Terror because she can keep structures from firing on it, but they didn't have a lot of opportunity to push with the Terror as they were using it in a lot of cases, especially in the late game, to defend instead.
Yeah, looking at the damage, it was actually Sonya who did the most for their team. But I think it does come down a little bit to the fact that they didn't really have any of the standard damage dealers that you see. But also, I think it just really comes down to the fact that they did get caught out a couple of times and were really punished by that Tyrael Precision Strike combination. So a really great showing from them. They did fantastically through this. They've made it to, this was the round of 32. So they were able to get in on a little bit of that prize money as well. But we will see 2-Arc moving on. I'm going to take a look at the bracket and see if we know their opponent just yet. It does look like it will be Team Blaze. Team Blaze made it to the round of 8 last time, guys, so this could be a very good series.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun, guys, and whoever wins this match will go on to be broadcast next week in the round of 8 from Burbank, from the ESL studio, so we know you guys will be tuning in there. But don't worry, we have more matches for tonight, and maybe this time Nightbot will let me do a giveaway, so there may be a Zagara hero waiting for you in chat, so don't go anywhere during the break.
We will take a break. When we come back, we'll have 2-Arc Gaming versus Team Blaze. See you guys soon.